Hello there, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Many of our fellow Americans, millions, are waiting for stimulus. But in this video, I'm going to talk to you about states that are taking action to provide hundreds of millions of dollars in stimulus to their residents. I did do another video talking about California and Maryland providing stimulus, but there are now more states providing different forms of stimulus, and I'll be covering all of them in this video. Please do me a favor before we jump in. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Let's just jump right in. Here's the headline of an article on your screen from the Associated Press. States pass their own pandemic stimulus, not waiting on Washington. Now, I have reported that Maryland and California are helping the poor, they're helping the jobless, small businesses, and those who need childcare. Now, new information has emerged suggesting that New Mexico and Pennsylvania are also sending grants to cash starved businesses. In addition, North Carolina's governor wants additional state aid for things like bonus pay for teachers, as well as boosting internet speeds in rural areas. And what's really interesting, everyone, is that Rick Scott, the Republican senator from Florida, is saying, hey, states have money. States are sending it out to their residents. So why do you want blue state, poorly run Democratic blue state bailouts by the federal government? Here's a comment from Rick Scott. He said, it's great news that states are doing well, many seeing revenues higher than projected and are able to help their citizens during this pandemic. House and Senate Democrats should follow the facts and ditch their radical efforts to award wasteful bailouts for failed politicians in states like New York and California. He's presumably referring to the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, and the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Here's another similar article published on Axios highlighting the fact that states are sending money to local residents, to their own constituents. And what's ironic is this bolsters the argument, this strengthens the argument for individuals who say, hey, we do not need $360 billion for state and local governments in this new $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. In fact, let's take a look at the Republican governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan. And Larry Hogan signed legislation last week which provided a $300 one-time payment for individuals, $500 payments for families, and up to $9,000 in sales tax relief for small businesses. Let's check out this recent tweet from Governor Larry Hogan from Maryland. Again, he's a Republican, where he wrote, today I signed more than $1 billion in tax cuts and economic relief that was passed with near unanimous support. If we can do that in Maryland, there is no reason why President Biden and Republicans in Congress cannot work together to support and pass a bipartisan relief package. Let's roll the tape and hear from the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan. Let's watch.
Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation.
Our country deserves, for both sides, both parties, to find common ground for the common good everywhere that we can.
Are these just empty words? We're about to find out. Washington needs to pass a COVID-19 relief bill to save lives and livelihoods, but we need both parties at the table offering their best ideas. That's the only way to stop the vicious cycle of divisiveness and dysfunction. This moment demands humility and bipartisan cooperation, not more take it or leave it or partisan obstruction. Tell Democrats and Republicans in Washington we need them to work together. Go to nolabels.org/deal and sign your name to our petition supporting a bipartisan COVID-19 relief bill.
Here's a tweet on your screen from the North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, who recently announced a $695 million emergency budget proposal. Now, keep in mind that at this point it's a proposal, but if that proposal is passed, it would include bonuses for schools and staff that's related to education. It would provide hazard pay for state law enforcement, funding for rural broadband, and money for small businesses. So you can start to see things happening at the state level. Here's a tweet on your screen from the governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, who back in January signed $145 million of legislation in reserves from workers' compensation funds for grants up to $50,000 for bars, for restaurants, as well as for hotels. So clearly the states have these pockets of money in different parts of the economy, state economy, that they can then use and repurpose for individuals who need help, for sectors that need help. Because individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have been impacted the most. So states across the country are starting to do more and more of this. So far, we covered Maryland, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Now, let's go down south to New Mexico. Now, the New Mexico governor, Lujan Grisham, who's a Democrat, had this to say. The cascading effect, it's actually a problem that most states are grappling with, waiting for the relief money out of the feds. We need to be able to hold up, to shore up businesses moving forward, and we want to give them security to hold their current employees and potentially hire more. Now, Governor Grisham is yet to sign a $200 million stimulus package in the state of Mexico, and that would provide direct grants to businesses. It would provide a $600 rebate to low-wage workers, and it would also provide a 4-month tax holiday, for restaurants. There's a lot being done by different states, including, like I mentioned, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Maryland, and New Mexico. And now let's talk about the big one, California. Gavin Newsom signed a $7.6 billion package in California. Folks, let's just put this in perspective. New Mexico, $200 million. California, $7.6 billion. A $7.6 billion package that includes $600 in stimulus checks to 5.7 million residents, almost 6 million people receiving $600 stimulus checks in the state of California, and $2 billion for struggling businesses. So this entire situation got me thinking, which states are most dependent and least dependent on the federal government for the federal government's assistance during moments of crisis? Here's an article on your screen from Wallet Hub on the most and least federally dependent states. As always, we'll provide you with the link to all of our resources in the description section below. Here's a list of states that are the most dependent on the federal government. The most dependent state on the state most dependent on the federal government is New Mexico, followed by Kentucky, followed by Mississippi, West Virginia, Montana, Alaska, South Carolina, and so on and so forth. Let's scroll down this list and you can see the serial number on the left side represents the states that are the most dependent. And as we go down, you start to see the states that are least dependent on federal dollars during moments of crisis like the pandemic. And we know all the Republicans like to make it about red states versus blue states bailout. That entire argument is debunked. Take a look at these two statistics on your screen. The lowest amount of financial assistance per dollar in federal aid paid. In other words, these states receive the least assistance relative to the money they send to the federal government by way of the taxes that they collect. Check this out. Delaware, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Illinois, and Maryland, least dependent. On the other hand, the highest amount of financial assistance received per dollar in federal taxes paid to the federal government, West Virginia, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, and North Dakota are taking more money relative to the money that they are giving to the federal government. Pretty incredible. And let's look at states with a high GDP. GDP meaning number of transactions, the volume of the transactions, the size of the transactions. What's going on in terms of the overall spending capability within the state based on the number of residents and how they spend money. Highest GDP, Massachusetts, New York, Alaska, North Dakota, and as you would expect, California. On the other hand, lowest GDP, Alabama, Idaho, West Virginia, Arkansas, and Mississippi. And this is the big one. Let's take a look at red states versus blue states, courtesy of that Wallet Hub article. The red states, are you ready? And now let's stack up red states versus blue states in terms of their dependence on the federal government for federal dollars relative to what they pay the federal government. Are you ready? Take a look at this image on your screen from Wallet Hub. Blue states are less dependent on the federal government than red states. When you take a look at all the data in the previous chart that I showed you, that shows you all the states. Let's show you that chart on your screen one more time as we scroll from top to bottom. Now, when you take all of that data and when you analyze it, then you get essentially this bottom line. Red states versus blue states. Blue states are less dependent on the federal government. Remember, the higher the number, the less dependent the state is. The lower the number, the more dependent the state is on federal dollars. So this is the important part. Blue states are less dependent on the federal government than red states. And therefore, when we look at states sending out stimulus checks to their residents. It should all be about the local economy, and it should not be about the red versus blue. That's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you learned something new, please subscribe, please enable notifications, please click the like button. That really helps out the YouTube algorithm. That's going to make everybody happy. That's going to make the Democrats happy. That's going to make the Republicans happy. If, everybody's going to be happy when you click the like button. So please do that. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.